Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, gold LEM models stolen from Neil Armstrong Air and Space Museum. Able flight provides opportunity for many to enter aviation. USS Ford completes first arrested landing and launch. Hello, I'm Laura Hudson. It's August 4th, and this is Airborne Unlimited. A small gold replica of the Lunar Excursion Module that carried Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to their historic first moon landing has been stolen from the Neil Armstrong Air and Space Museum in Wapakoneta, Ohio. The model is about 5 inches high and 4.5 inches square. It was one of 3 made by Cartier to be given to each of the astronauts on the Apollo 11 mission. Wapakoneta police got the call from the museum's burglar alarm shortly after midnight on July 28th, according to the report. When they arrived, the piece was missing. Authorities say that the value of the piece cannot be determined. The theft is under investigation by both the Wapakoneta police and the FBI. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Wapakoneta Police Department. Able Flight presented 8 new pilots their wings at AirVenture 2017. The recipients are men and women who have physical disabilities, but they refuse to allow their disability to prevent them from achieving their goal of becoming a pilot. Able Flight, founded in 2006 by Charles Stites, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing the thrill of being a pilot with those who otherwise would not be able to due to a physical disability. The program has been wonderfully successful. Able Flight's leadership consists of a broad spectrum of people, including a previous student, a veteran pilot who has a disability, and an AME, as well as other aviation professionals and industry leaders. The flight lessons in ground school are given at Purdue University or Ohio State University during the summer. Students live in accessible dormitory rooms on campus. A normal day consists of a morning flight lesson followed by ground school. There is a second flight lesson in the afternoon. The entire training, including taking the light sport pilot check ride, takes between 5 to 7 weeks depending on weather. Purdue has been involved with the program for many years and has trained 40 pilots with a 100% pass rate on check rides. Ohio State just became an Able Flight training center this summer. All told, 60 pilots have become light sport pilots. After the break, USS Gerald R starts air operations.
The Bristol light sport aircraft is what you are looking for. The Bristol is wider than a Cirrus, faster than a Skyhawk, offers more storage than a Husky, and comes standard with Garmin avionics. So what are you waiting for? Visit Bristol.com to find out how you can get into a Bristol today.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Welcome back. Less than a week after President Trump commissioned the U.S. Navy's newest aircraft carrier, USS Gerald R. Ford launched and recovered its first fixed-wing aircraft July 28th off the coast of Virginia. The first arrested landing, or trap, occurred at 3:10 p.m. and the first catapult launch happened at 4:37 p.m. Lieutenant Commander Jamie Struck of Talmadge, Ohio, piloted the FA-18F Super Hornet from Air Test and Evaluation Squadron 23 based at Patuxent River, Maryland. The Super Hornet caught the number 2 arresting wire of Ford's Advanced Arresting Gear System and was launched from Catapult 1 using the electromagnetic launch system. Today, USS Gerald R. Ford made history with the successful landing and launching of aircraft VX-23 using the AAG and EMALS, said Admiral Phil Davidson, commander of U.S. Fleet Forces. AAG and EMALS have been successfully tested ashore at Lakehurst, New Jersey, but this is the first shipboard recovery and launch of a fleet fixed-wing aircraft, said Captain Rick McCormick, Ford's commanding officer. My team has worked closely with industry, Naval Air Systems Command, and flight test community to make this historic event in naval aviation happen. I am very proud of my crew. NBAA has commended the Senate Appropriations Committee for rejecting privatization of the nation's air traffic control system in an annual federal spending bill last week. NBAA President and CEO Ed Bolin thanked Committee Chairman Thad Cochran and Ranking Member Patrick Leahy, as well as Transportation Subcommittee Chair Susan Collins and Ranking Member Jack Reed, for their leadership on the issue. Senators Cochran, Leahy, Collins, and Reed recognized the ATC privatization is a risky scheme that would be harmful to communities and towns across the U.S. We look forward to working with committee and other congressional leaders to ensure the full passage of this important legislation, Bolin said. Proposals for privatizing ATC have been pushed by the big airlines as part of a continuing debate over FAA reauthorization. Under such proposals, congressional oversight of the nation's aviation system would be replaced by an entity governed by a private group unaccountable to Congress. A growing number of people and organizations have raised concerns about the legislation, including congressional leaders from both political parties, nonpartisan government scorekeepers, more than 100 aviation organizations, more than 100 business leaders, 100 U.S. mayors, and a majority of American citizens. After these messages, Fly Dubai's new 737 MAX 8.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
In collaboration with NASC, introducing Sonix Aerospace, bringing you the Taros Group 4 UAS, the redesigned Tiger Shark Block 4, and the Subsonics Twin Jet UAS, all derived from flight-proven manned systems, not concepts, real aircraft. More at sonixaerospace.com.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. Boeing has delivered the first 737 MAX 8 airliner to Fly Dubai, making the Middle East carrier the first in the region to operate Boeing's newest single-aisle airplane. The delivery is the first of 76 737 MAX airplanes. The airline will be adding to their all-Boeing fleet of next-generation 737s. The FAA proposes a $54,000 civil penalty against the Caravan Company of St. Louis for allegedly violating the hazardous materials regulations. The FAA alleges that on September 15, 2016, Caravan offered a cardboard box containing 2 pails of flammable paint to FedEx for overnight delivery from St. Louis to Elmendorf, Texas. On September 16, 2016, the package was transported on a FedEx flight from Memphis to San Antonio. Spirit pilots mark the 2-year anniversary since they entered into contract negotiations and are calling on their management to present them with a contract proposal that brings the pilots up to what they call industry standard. Represented by ALPA, 1,600 Spirit pilots fly the same aircraft on the same routes as their peers, yet the compensation is allegedly 40% less. In its current market outlook for India, Boeing forecasts a demand for 2,100 new airplanes in India, valued at $290 billion over the next 20 years. The company released the new numbers during a briefing in Delhi. Single-aisle airplanes will continue to account for the largest share of new deliveries, with airlines in India needing approximately 1,780 airplanes. SecTrans Elaine Chao recently announced that the FAA will award $185.8 million in airport infrastructure grants to 62 airports in 32 states across the United States as part of the FAA's Airport Improvement Program. The Airport Grant Program funds various types of airport infrastructure projects, including runways, taxiways, airport signage, lighting, and markings, all of which help to create thousands of jobs. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. Textron Aviation has introduced the Garmin G1000 NXI integrated flight deck to the new production of its Cessna Grand Caravan EX and Cessna Caravan platforms. The company has received FAA and EASA certification, allowing deliveries to commence in the U.S. and Europe. The Cessna Caravan product line continues to lead the modern single-engine utility turboprop segment, and introducing the new Garmin G1000 NXI avionics further confirms our commitment to investing in this proven and versatile platform, said Rob Scholl, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. The G1000 NXI features include flight display modernization with faster processing times, improved graphics rendering, and enhanced readability with LED backlighting. Capability improvements include map overlay on the HSI, improved FMS capabilities to include visual approaches, standard ADS-B out and optional ADS-B in, the ability to view VFR and IFR charts on the moving map, animated Sirius XM weather depiction, and more. As an option, Surface Watch will also provide enhanced runway situational awareness. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.